So in the last video, we were talking about this RIFT PR18. And if you haven't seen that video, you may want to go back and watch it. But this is quite a different sound with a Strat. Now, recently I've become more and more a Strat person with my whole Jimi Hendrix series and everything. And I absolutely adore playing Strats right now. So maybe it's hit me in this way because of that. But I'm super excited by this RIFT PR18 with its brown panel preamp, not a black panel. So this is what he calls a 63. I just want to put these clips out there because if you're looking for a small combo amp that you can carry around easily and you play a lot of Strats, and if you use a UNI-VIBE, any sort of fuzz, this amp is just goddamn gorgeous, basically. And I imagine with the black panel preamp, it will be even sort of sweeter and lusher and more scooped and all those normal things that you'd expect, and I'd highly recommend that if that's what you're looking for. If you want something slightly different, go and watch the first video where I used a Telecaster, where an Esquire and an Explorer with humbuckers, of course. This amp is unusual in a very good way, but with the Strat, it took me into that Strat world that I love. The reverb is lush, the tremolo is lovely, but turn the trem off, I put a UNI-VIBE on. It's because of the 12-inch speaker. And I talked more about the specs in the first video. Because of the 12-inch speaker, it takes pedals really, really well. This is on the full panel, the full power, and so I'm, it's not a quiet amp at all, but it's not one of those that hurts your ears either. And with the half power, you could definitely play this quieter, and I explore that in the first video a bit more. But let's just get into this. I want you to hear these sounds with this Ron Thorn Masterbuilt Strat. And I hope you enjoy this. Cheers. Just in case you didn't watch the first video and you have no intention to, here's the quickest rundown of the specs. This is the RIFT PR18, so it's an 18-watt Princeton type amp with a 12-watt speaker, the 12-inch speaker, I apologise, and reverb and tremolo. It's got a half power switch on the back, which we discovered in the first video, knocks 3 to 4 decibels off, which actually feels like a lot. Has a volume that goes from, well, you'll see in this video, reasonably clean, but not maybe as crystal clean as a black panel amp, up to pretty raucous, crazy stuff in the first video with some humbuckers and also with an Esquire, we heard that. It's got treble and bass, and I find that they sort of come together really well, somehow sort of interactive in a way, it feels. The reverb can get pretty massive, but if you keep it around 2 to 3, it's that sort of normal lovely spring reverb. Trem sounds really nice and warm, and it's lovely and small and light. So compared to a Bassman or a 2x12 stack, I mean it's really small and light. So yeah, that's the amp. Let's get on with these sounds. Oh, and by the way, you'll see I'm using another RIFT thing here. This is the RIFT Elysium, which is a low gain fuzz, Chris calls it. Basically, he wanted to make a fuzz that was not so over the top and could be used for a lot more sort of always on stuff, overdrivey type things. I'm yet to do a standalone video, but I'm using it in here quite a lot, so you'll hear that. And I'll give you more details in another video. Okay, that was reverb on 2, gonna up it to 3. Okay, that's pretty. Wow. Let's turn off the trem on it and put on the UNI-VIBE. Turning the volume up from 2.5 to 3.5, dropping the treble by a tiny bit. Okay, turning this from nearly 4 up to 6. Turning off the fuzz. No pedals. Treble back up a tiny bit. Reverb again going up a tiny bit to 4 from 3.5. Volume to 3, reverb to 6. Let's see how ambient it gets. Finally, just turn the reverb off, put the volume on 5. So I couldn't believe how great that was, and for someone like me who's in a Strat wormhole and a Jimi Hendrix one at that, this amp is ideal. I'm going off on a road trip for a couple of weeks in about 2 hours, and this is coming with me. I wasn't 100% sure what I was taking. That's actually the reason I did this video. I wanted to explore the amp more, and I'm literally taking that 1968 UNI-VIBE with me, and a fuzz and an overdrive. I'm not sure I need the overdrive, but it's going to fit in the car great as well. But going through those clips, I mean, even when I was on 6.5 and 8 volume, at one point I rolled back the volume and it cleaned up, and it was just beautiful in that chimey brightness. So it's curious that with a Telecaster and with an Explorer in the first video, it sounded unlike any sort of black panel amp because it's brown panel. But with the Strat, it really sort of went halfway there, but I had something else about it. And I'm still sort of reeling from playing it like that. I can't wait to spend the next 10 days on this road trip, getting the amp out every day and having a little blast when I can, because yeah, it's going to be a great amp to spend some time with. There's literally nothing else that I need to say. I think you probably heard the clips, and if you were interested in this amp and you play a Strat, I'd really recommend trying it. I'm used to playing big amps, so it's not often with a small amp that I feel particularly emotional about it. But this amp just has that thing. It just, under the fingers, it had the right level of sustain. The reverb is great. It's not too massive, but it's not too small, considering it's a small amp. It's not one of those amps where you need to fiddle with the controls too much. Just set it, you know, even if you put it on a high volume, you can roll back really well. This is not a very coherent video, but sometimes when you get excited, that's all you need to show. Probably after my road trip, 10 days with it, 10 days, 2 weeks. When I say road trip, most of it is going to be spent in one place after a bit of a road trip at the beginning. So I'll have a good week and a bit to just play this amp every day. So when I come back, I might do a follow-up and tell you if I discover anything new or whatever. But anyway, I hope you enjoy this, and yeah, if you've enjoyed this, please subscribe to the channel. I don't always ask, but it does really help and helps me to sort of stay motivated to keep growing the channel, and give the video a thumbs up. Cheers.